And I now give the floor to Pakistan on behalf of the OIC. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. Since its adoption 26 years ago, the historical Vienna Declaration continues to remain an important reference point in guiding and galvanizing our collective efforts to protect and promote basic human rights. VDPA's elaboration of the fundamental principles of human rights, which should underpin multilateral cooperation in this domain, remains very much relevant today. Given their importance, OIC would like to reiterate these principles. First, that the human person is the central subject of human rights and fundamental freedoms and consequently should be its principal beneficiary. Second, that all human rights are universal, indivisible, interdependent and interrelated and must be treated on the same footing with the same emphasis. And third, that international cooperation should be in conformity with the UN Charter and international law. Madam Vice President, in hindsight, the Declaration's particular focus on economic, cultural and social rights was seminal in nature when seen in the context of today's accelerated efforts to achieve the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. The Declaration rightly asserts that development facilitates enjoyment of all human rights and thus international community should constructively engage with one another in removing structural obstacles to the realization of this inalienable right. However, it's regrettable that when we should be working together to create favorable economic environment at the global level, some countries are closing borders and giving life to populist and ethno-nationalist narratives. Migrant workers have always been agents of socio-economic progress and should not be discriminated against on the basis of origin, sex, race or religion. OIC is seriously concerned about the rising incidence of Islamophobia, xenophobia, racial discrimination, defamation and ridicule of religions and religious symbols, and hate crimes against Muslim communities across the globe. In particular, Muslim minorities have been the subject of brutal and inhuman persecution. We condemn all violent actions which prevent persons from exercising their right to enjoy their culture and to profess and practice their religion. Madam President, OIC strongly feels that in order to effectively implement VDPA, the international community must redouble its efforts to combat discrimination, intolerance and violence on the basis of religion, resolve international conflicts and disputes through dialogue and negotiations.
Thank you.